गुरुर्मूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरुपदं मंत्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरुकृपा। ओम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय, सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय, कृष्ण भगवान की जय, गीता माता की जय। हरि ओम। We are discussing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, and in that yesterday we saw the dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna in Karma Yoga, third chapter. Yesterday we saw Sadrisam chestate swasyaha prakriter jnanamanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishati. Both the wise man and the ignorant man they perform actions in the same way. Actions has got no difference. And prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishati. Even a wise man acts in the accordance with his own nature. Both they are forced by their nature and they perform the action. Both do the same thing and both are forced by their nature, and thereby they perform the action. And we have discussed it before. What is the difference then between the wise man and the ignorant man? That we have seen. Inwardly the wise man is never attached to the fruits of his actions, and he is not involved in the action as the doer. He has no doership, and also his mind is ever steady on the self. He is never perturbed by the situation and by other conditions around him. But both they are forced by their nature and they do the action. Okay. On this basis, he says, you cannot go against the nature. Nigraha kim karishati. Your restraint will not do. You are bound to be forced by the nature. In other scriptures we have seen the name of Saraswati, the creative power. Of course it is knowledge power, but the name is given to her as Chodayatri. The supreme power does nothing it gives a tendency, a momentum to do the act. And that momentum from other angle, if we see, that momentum is created by imbalancing the three qualities. Prakritehe kriyamanani, gunehi karmani sarvasa. Gun, three qualities. When the nature disbalances it, then there arises a momentum by which all the creatures, they are forced to do something. That is the work of the nature, Prakriti. This is how it controls the whole universe, whole creation. So her name is Chodayatri, one who gives a chesta, a tendency in everyone. That's all what the nature does. Nobody can get rid of it. Then only Lord Krishna said, Nigraha Kim Karishati. Your effort has no use. You cannot go against the nature. In what case? As long as you are the body with the senses, you are the mind with fourfold aspects, man, buddhi, intellect, ego, and the subconscious mind, fourfold mind. And as long as you are the doer, so you are completely under the clutches of nature. You cannot do anything against it. So what is the way out? That is what he is telling now. You must understand the process. Then only you can have some effort to get out of the process. Now he has explained what is the process. How does Prakriti do everything? This is clear before us. And that imbalanced state of the three qualities that we have seen from many different angles. From mind angle, Chitta is called when the Chit, the absolute consciousness, starts acting. It doesn't do anything, but it appears as if there is something misbalanced. That misbalanced state starts with the willpower. I am one. The ego starts, and in Purusha Sukta, Narayana Sukta, in all other Vedic texts, and everywhere we see how the starting begins of the creation. So in the very beginning, the Ichha Shakti, then Kriya Shakti, the action starts. That means the willpower starts working, and there Parashakti, Saraswati, if you consider the Parashakti is Saraswati, creative power, then it will start with this creating, and from different many angles the great seers have described it in different ways. From mind point of view, we see the Chit Shakti. When it starts working, it is named as Chitti, the supreme power. And then when it activates, it is called Chitti. And when it is ready to act. You see, I am sitting here calmly. Then there should be a momentum to get up. This is called momentum. I have not got up, but there is a momentum to get up. That is in between getting up and sitting. That point should be noted. In that state, the supreme power is called Chitti, who gives a momentum to everyone to act. When it starts acting, I have to get up, and all of a sudden I cannot walk. I have to stand for a while. Then only I will start walking. So that standing point, that is called Chitti, which has got all the power to give the momentum to go. That is called Chitta. It has the impression how to walk, and then only one can walk. So the Chitta is the seed. It remains in the seed form. And when it starts working, then it is called Chaitya, the world. In this way, it has got 4 stages, phases. The Supreme Power has got 4 phases. From mind angle of vision, from different angle, its phases are explained differently. Para, Pasyanti and Upansu and Vaikhari in the form of sound, and the prana also the same power, supreme power, and it acts in a different way. So the moment it starts, it diverts, it scatters away, and in different direction it starts working. Somewhere it is called prana, somewhere it is called mind, somewhere it is called senses. In this way, somewhere from different angle it is called qualities, and from our Ayurveda point of view, 3 gunas are not sattva, rajas, tamas, but vata, pitta and kapha. Different people have seen it different from different angle, then named it differently as per their acting process. Guna karma vibhagayoh. Guna, how the action starts and what is the action done. From that angle they name the objects. Naming is done by qualities and the action. In this way, the language differs from each other. And now Prakriti is the doer, and it does by misbalancing the 3 qualities, sattva, rajas, tamas. As for now, we have understood this much. Now, as such, nobody can go against it, because you are a being. Being means you are under the sway of the 3 qualities and the clutches of the Mahamaya, the supreme power. You cannot get out of the sway. So what is the way out? That is what the Lord is trying to explain. There is a way out. Yoga karma su kaushalam. You must understand the process, then only you can have some way out. Prakritim janti bhutani nigraha kim karishati. This doesn't mean your effort is useless. No. By this, Lord Krishna never discourages anybody to keep quiet only, not doing nothing. Because before it has warned, nobody can keep quiet. You have to act. So while acting, how can you get out of actions? And for that, all the techniques he has given. Attachment is the cause for bondage. You are in the cycle. Attachment, desires for the fruits, and doership, ego. All these are, he has explained before. So when you see everything clearly, then you can have some way out, some loopholes to get out of it. Now he says, Indriyasya arthe ragadveso vyavasthito tayorna vasamagachet tau hyasya paripandhino. Ragadves. Actions are nothing. They are not cause for your bondage. This point also we have discussed. Action is not cause for your bondage, but attachment for action. Your habit is your root cause for your character and your being. Your habits, that is called your nature. You are under the clutches of your nature. So, Rag and Dvesh, they are the two causes. One is opposite to the other. Two causes which create bondage, create attachment, creates the desire. These are the root cause. This should be also understood clearly. Raga and Dvesh. Raga, attachment, and Dvesh, repulsion. Aversion. Indriyasyarthe raga dveso vyavastito tayarno vasamagachet. You should not be under the clutches of attachment and hatred. Attachment and aversion for the objects of the senses, abiding in the senses. Senses, this is how the senses are ever engaged. How, for example, the eye sense, it is always attached to some beautiful forms. And what is beautiful? What is ever practiced, what has become its a habit, that is called beauty. Repetition of anything becomes the habit, and that habit has got some liking and dislikings. You are habituated to eat sweets. The children see, from childhood they will develop some likings and dislikings for food, for friends, for other domestic activities. They will have some liking and disliking, and that becomes their habit. If you ask our children to drink a glass of bitter gourd juice. They will run away from you. Whereas I like it so much. I can drink 10 glasses of bitter gourd juice. I have no disliking because I have bitten so many times. I have been beaten so many times by my mother. Whatever comes to you, you have to eat it without any if or but, or else you will be slapped. Whatever comes on the plate, you have to eat it closing your eyes and get up and run to the school. It is time now. You have no choice to say anything against or for. So it has become a habit now. Whatever comes in the plate, you have to eat it, thinking, Anna vai Brahma. Food is energy. It is the form of God. It will give you energy. From that angle, you should see it. There is no good food nor bad food. How do you accept it? That is counted. So now he is giving the clues, all the loopholes. You must be very, very serious and attentive to see where is the root. Then only we can root out. He says, it is not the actions you do which is cause for your bondage, but liking and dislikings. Your senses have that aspect. They are trained, they are habituated to accept something and reject some other things. So that is the cause. You should not be under the clutches of these senses. Indriyasya arthe raga dveso vyavastito. The senses are driven away by the habits, by the nature, and that they are attraction and repulsion. Let none come under their sway. The senses should be restrained. They should be under your clutches. You are not under their clutches. For they are his foes. Senses are your enemies. And not only senses, their habits, acceptance and non-acceptance. They are habituated with this. Yes.
So Swamiji, this you that you should understand, should we understand logically?
Little loudly.
You.
You?
You said the sensor should be under your control.
Yes.
So that you is a logical.
Who is you?
So it is mind or what we should.
I have explained so many times. You are the self. You are the individual self. And the meaning of the self changes every moment. Sometimes you are the ego, and ego changes every moment. Sometimes you are the intellect, sometimes you are the mind, you are the senses, sometimes you are the body. You change every moment. You are not one. As such, the individual self changes its form every moment. That's how it is subject to action and its results. It becomes the doer and enjoys the result of the actions. You are not stable. And on the other hand, you should be stable. When the individual self becomes actionless, it takes the form of the absolute truth. There is no difference between the spark of fire and the fire. There is no difference. There is no difference between a ray of light and the sun. It is one and the same. But when ray dissolves in the sun, then only it can say, I am the sun. So when the individual self becomes steady, that means individual self is always changeable. So mostly it acts as mind or intellect and as ego, because they are the dominating factors. Senses are subordinates. They don't dominate over mind any time. Indriyani paranyahu indriyevyaha param manah manasastu para buddhi. The intellect controls the mind. And jo buddha hai parasastu sah, that sah, that is sometimes individual self with all these group. And when the group is dissolved and individual self becomes steadied with the mind, intellect and the ego, everything, then it takes the form of the Supreme Self, Paramatma. And in this way, today we were discussing of two birds sitting in one tree. The body is taken as the tree, aswattamenam, suvirudhamulam. So these two birds are sitting on this tree. One is quite witnessing and stable. The other is ever flittering, going on enjoying the sweet and sour fruits and getting happiness, sometimes pain. Why? Because it is not stable. And this stable self is called the Paramatma. He is always witnessing. He doesn't do anything. So in that way, we have to see it from different angles. And self also changes. Don't think individual self has one meaning. No, never it can be. It is used in different context, different way. So now you means you, the flittering mind, restless mind. So now the mind has to control the senses and intellect has to control the mind. And intellect will be controlled by discriminating power. The same intellect has inner power, discrimination. And if the intellect is purified by dispassion and renunciation and habit of all these non-attachment, then only it will have the discriminative power. The power is there, but it is not easily used by the self. You have got plenty of money, black money. You have money, but you cannot use it openly. Under the table you can use it. When it becomes white, freely you can use it. White means purification. Okay, now coming to our point, tayorna vasamagachet tau hi asya paripanthinau. They are the enemies of the self. What are they? Rag and Dvesh. Each sense has got attraction for a pleasant object. It is because of habit we have seen it now. And some attraction and some aversion, repulsion for a disagreeable object. This agreeable and disagreeable, it is because of habit. If one can control these two currents which sway away your senses, that is attachment and aversion, he will not come under the sway of these two currents. Here lies the scope for personal exertion or purusartha. There is chance for you. If you are not under the clutches of the senses, then there is chance your effort may enable you to get out of the cycle. Understood now the point? The point is purusartha is not always useful. Sometimes it becomes useful only when you are not under the clutches of the senses or mind. So, now coming to our previous analytical studies, if the thoughts are cause for our habits, and habit is nothing but our nature, then how can we get out of it? Where is the chance for the self-effort? You see, if somehow these thoughts are purified, you see, how do the thoughts appear? How do they appear? How they are created? We should go to the very starting point. It is a long process, a cycle. Mind is activated by the, mind is nothing but the current of thought waves, and thoughts are created by vibrations, created by the pranic, pressure. When prana forces the cells of the brain, then vibrations are created, just giving a thirst. So, if the prana is well activated, then thoughts will be according to its force. And prana is dependent on other energy, food, and your daily habits, daily habitual actions, daily you say routine work, whatever you eat, whatever you do the actions, daily actions, they accordingly prana is activated. If a person eats the rajasic food, the prana will activate accordingly. If food is sattvic, then prana also activates in that way. If food is tamasic, that also influences the vibration of prana. A daily laborer who asks, who does some labor work, he cannot live long because he uses his prana so much. Using prana means prana becomes much active. That means it blows quickly and for a long distance. And people who work mentally, they don't use pranic power so much. They use mental power much. So in this way, everything is linked with other things. We have to be very careful for our daily, day-to-day affairs, thinking, our behavior. On this basis only in Raja Yoga, the first step is yama niyama, code of conduct. Your eating, drinking, talking, your friend circle, your daily activities, they influence the prana. And prana influence the mind. And if all these are purified in a process, then only you can have better thoughts. Association also is a fact. In this way, one should be integrally careful from all sides. Then only you can progress. What is doing our Russia? If it wants, it can capture whole Ukraine in one day. Put the atom bomb, the Ukraine state will be ashes. No. It attacks it from all sides. That is how I always say, you have to see one thing from all sides, from 360-degree angle. And on this basis only, going round the temple or going round the whole country or going round the whole mountain or your temple or your God is included in our rituals, because you should have all-round vision. That's how to change your mind. It is not an easy job. And from other angle, if you see, we have our habits, we are the slave of our habits. How is the habit formed? You see, mind thinks and thoughts are repeated, and then our repeated thoughts becomes our habit, and repeated actions becomes our habit, and thereby we have some liking and disliking for the objects by the senses. Objects are not good nor bad. Actions are neither good nor bad, but the senses and attitude and our habit. Now, the thoughts are not only created by the prana, there is also another person sitting hidingly behind the screen. What is that? Who is that? Subconscious mind, Chitta. Chitta is the director. He is behind the scene. Karma ka jad hai udhar. The root of all your actions are there. A tree will not have one single root. It will have so many roots. If you want to root out the tree, you have to root out all the roots. Okay? That is what all-round vision. So what happens? The throbbing of prana also depends upon the momentum given by the chitta. The seeds of karma which are ready for action, when they get suitable, favorable conditions, they come out and try to become many. That is the process. From that angle also we have discussed it. Chitta is the cause. Here prana was the cause. From other angle, habits are the cause. And from still other angle, your liking and disliking by the senses. Senses are the rogues. So it is a complicated cooperative society.
So logically it is like a backfires, they are coming and attacking.
Yes, from all sides Russia has attacked Ukraine. So now you have to look for the subconscious mind. What are the karma is ready to fructify, to activate? They are also very important causes. Again going there, you see, it has got so many impressions, innumerable, nobody can count. Since lives from time immemorial, we have collected all those impressions, memories. They are suppressed, that's why we are unable to see your karma. So when they come to the surface, just as the bubbles created in the bottom of the water, and it comes out to the surface, then only we see it is a bubble. Similarly, those impressions from the depth of the subconscious mind, when the favorable conditions are ready, they come to the surface of the subconscious mind and they get activated. They are also causes. So what happens? You see, we are swayed away by our prarabdha. Prarabdha means these karmas, these seeds are differently seen by different seers. You see, now we are just as in the classes, in the schools, in a particular class, what will be the course of studies? It is pre-planned, and then it is given to the teachers of the class. All these subjects are to be taught. They cannot go out of it. Of course, they have some freedom to alter it timingly, but within the year you have to complete the course, syllabus. You see, there are so many complications. Huh? Pre-decided. And a portion of those impressions which are brought forth in our accounts, brought forth from the last. It is brought forth. It cannot be changed. Even there, we have two sides. Always there is chance. One is under your control, the other is not under your control, because it is relative world. Always there will be two sides. So, what happens? There is freedom under the non-freedom, and there is non-freedom under freedom. You have freedom to do, and that is up to some limit. Your freedom is limited, and your dependence also is limited. You have freedom there. For example, I told Biju, our marketing man, Biju, today is Saturday, we have to have some sweets and fruits for Sundarakand in the evening. So I gave some money, go and bring some sweets and some fruits. He is bound by this order. He has no freedom to bring some books or some dresses or some other needs. He has got no right. His freedom is limited up to this, sweets and fruits. And he has freedom within this limit. He will choose what sweets he will bring. Whether Kala Jamun or Rasgulla or Barfi or Laddu or something else, क्या कहते हैं वो, milk cake. So many kinds of sweets are there. And that also, what is available in the particular shop. So many causes are responsible, not one. He has got freedom to choose. If it is not available what he wants, then his freedom is limited. He has to choose whatever from whatever is available. Fruits also similarly, it has got freedom within the limit. So both ways you have to understand this relative world from all sides. So in this way, you have got right to do self-effort, and that also is limited by your prarabdha. Now, how to do, what to do? Now there is a law, natural law. You know, if two fighters, two wrestlers fight, who will be the winner? A child can give the answer. The stronger one will win over the weaker one. They are fighting for the win. And the stronger one will win over the weaker one. So if your self-effort is stronger than the prarabdha, you will suppress the prarabdha. It cannot be deleted, it will be suppressed. If there is a very brilliant student in the class, he is eligible to get double promotion. He finishes the whole year course in 2-3 months and he gets double promotion. It is seen sometimes, rarely of course. Some brilliant students, they get double promotion. And they are prepared in the house by their parents and their surroundings will be like that. From very childhood they were trained in that way. Then only they can do it. It is not all of a sudden. Intellect is just like a knife. If you go on sharpening it, it can work as a blade also. And if it is thrown and has some rust in it, it will not even cut your nose. So in this way, every point has to be seen. So now, in this way, if we are aware of all these points, then we can have sattvic thoughts, sattvic food, sattvic code of conduct, which will influence our habits. And if you have good habits, then you can have good thoughts. And if you have good thoughts, it is easy to control it. A good boy is always under control of the parents. A naughty boy is very difficult to be controlled. Naughty boy means restless mind, rajasic mind, tamasic mind. In this way, each sense has got attraction for a pleasant object and aversion for disagreeable object. How it is disagreeable and agreeable we have seen because of habits. If one can control these two currents, that's why if is used. One has to control, not said in this way. If you can control, that is attachment and aversion, he will not come under this way of these currents. You should have very strong self-effort to overcome all other influences. Here lies the scope for personal exertion or purusartha. So you cannot be, you are not discouraged by nigraha kim karisati. You cannot go against the nature. That will not be applied for such a person. Nature which contains the sum total of one's sanskaras, This is what we have discussed now. Nature has the subtotal of your impressions, that is chitta. Chitta is there. Nature which contains the subtotal of one's sanskaras or the latent self-productive impressions. Latent self-productive impressions. That is what we discussed now. They are ready to activate. Self-productive. When they get favorable conditions, they start activating. Impressions of the past actions, it is collected in the subconscious mind. And those are of two types also, merit and demerits. They are not of one type. Both will be there because it is relative. Merit and demerit draws a man to its course through the two currents. He is swayed away by the habits or nature. Nature has full control over him. So subconscious mind is there, and of course we have seen prana and your habits, your day-to-day daily conducts and actions. Everything is considered. And now, if one can control these two currents, if he can rise above the sway of love and hate through discrimination and vichara or right inquiry, this also is there. That is why always it is emphasized, hear and contemplate what you have heard and try to understand it and then try to accept it and then you have to use it in your life. Then only it will be useful. Simple understanding by contemplation will not do.
Like morning we were saying.
Yes, this is what we were discussing in the Yoga Vasishtha class. Then he can conquer nature. It is not easy job, but not impossible for a sincere, honest and active student. Nature and attain immortality and eternal bliss. He will no longer be subject to his own nature now. One should always exert to free himself from attachment and aversion to the objects of the senses. It is not easy job because all the 24 hours one has to be watchful over his mind and his daily day-to-day activities. Not a single action should go against your goal. Then only it will be possible to go against the nature, or else you cannot. Mahamaya. Yes. Achintya Rupa Charite. It is beyond your thoughts, beyond your speech. How does this Maya play the game? It is all round performance. So you cannot enter from one angle or one point, just as our son of Arjuna, Abhimanyu, did. He knows how to enter, but he could not come out of it. You will be attacked from all sides. You will be nowhere. You cannot get out from the Maya's hold. So enough today. You have chance. So tomorrow we shall use the chance. Let us see. Shreyana swadharma vigunaha paradharmad swanushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Another trick also God gives to Arjuna to persuade him. He is attacking Arjuna from all sides. Poor fellow, he has surrendered. So tomorrow we shall see what is Swadharma and what is Paradharma, how to act wisely. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Sachidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Gita Mata ki jai. Hare